Hi guys, I hope everybody's doing good today. What we're going to learn about in this video is we're going to learn about tangents. So if you remember back when we took all of those notes on definitions of things that had to do with circles, tangent was one thing that is a line that touches or intersects a circle at exactly one point. So in this definition, it says a tangent line intersects a circle at exactly one point, and that point is called the point of tangency. So this is your tangent line over here. It intersects at this point on the circle, and it's only 1 point. And a line is tangent to a circle if and only if it is perpendicular to a radius drawn to the point of tangency. So if you take a radius and you draw it to the point where it's tangent, the point of tangency, then this would have to be perpendicular. If this is perpendicular, then that means that this is a tangent line. If it's not perpendicular, then it means that this is not a tangent line. And remember, perpendicular is just 90-degree angle. So for these ones, it says determine if AB is tangent to the circle. So what we're trying to determine is we're trying to determine if this is a right angle right here. So the easiest way to do that is with Pythagorean theorem. So really we're just looking for, is it a right triangle? And then we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem to try to help us figure that out. So if this is the 90-degree that we're trying to figure out, that means 17 is your C. So we're going to see if 8 squared plus 15 squared equals 17 squared. And if it does, then that means that this is going to be a tangent line. Okay, so 8 squared plus 15 squared, if you do that in your calculator, you get 289. And then 17 squared is also 289. So the fact that those are equal to each other means that this is a 90-degree. And then that means that AB, yes, AB is tangent to circle P. Okay, and then number 2, same thing. This one is a little bit trickier though, in the fact that they give you the radius is 11 and they only give you this little tiny part is 5. So that means the distance from the edge of the circle to the center, this has to be 11. So that means this whole side is actually 16. So then we're going to do the Pythagorean theorem to determine if that is a 90-degree angle right there. So 14 squared plus 11 squared should equal 16 squared. If you do 14 squared plus 11 squared, you'll get 317. And then 16 squared is 256. So since those are not equal to each other, then it is no, AB is not tangent to circle P. Okay, so just using the Pythagorean theorem and testing if it becomes a right angle. All right, so now this one gives you if JK is tangent to circle L, then you want to find X. So we know that JK right here is tangent to circle L, so that means that this creates a 90-degree angle. And then what we're trying to do is we're trying to solve for X. So if this is a 90-degree, we've got our right triangle and we can just do Pythagorean theorem again. So 7 squared plus 19 squared equals X squared. So if I do 7 squared plus 19 squared, that becomes 410. And then to get rid of the squared, I'm going to do the square root of both sides. You guys plug that in your calculator and you'll get it's about 20.25. So X is about 20.25 is going to be your answer for that one. Okay, same thing here. This is 90-degree and they want to find X. Remember that these are both your radii. So that means this distance is also 11. So that means this side of my triangle is totally 18. And then we just set the Pythagorean up a little bit differently because they give us the hypotenuse in this one and they don't. We're trying to find the leg. So we would do 11 squared plus X squared equals this whole 18 squared. So then to get X squared by itself, you do 18 squared minus 11 squared, take the square root of all this. And then you can seriously plug that in your calculator and you'll get this is about 14.25 whenever you do the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, number 5 again is really similar. So you've got, let's see, this is 10 and 10 again. So then when you set this up, this side length is going to be X plus 10. This actually gets a little bit more interesting for us. Or actually, there's a different way to do this. Let's not make this so complicated. We can find what this whole length is. Let's call it Y by doing the Pythagorean theorem because we know that this is a 90-degree because JK is tangent. So if I do 24 squared plus 10 squared, I will get Y squared. So if I do the square root of both sides right now, I'll get that Y is 26. So this whole side is 26. And then I know the radius right here is 10. So if I want to get just this X part, I'm going to do 26 minus 10. and they'll get that x in this case is equal to 16. That's the easier way to do it. We're going to go complicated for that. All right, let's see. This one we've got radius is 11, so I mean this is also 11 right here. So this whole length is 22. And then this one we're just going to set up. So we would make this x squared plus 22 squared equals 25. And then you guys would solve for x just like you know how to do. Okay, 7 is really similar to that, so we're going to skip it. And then 8 is where this gets nice and fun. So we see our radius is x, so that means this part also has to be x. So that means this entire side length mj is 2x, because if we do x plus x, we get 2x. All right, so if we set up the Pythagorean theorem, we'll get 7 squared plus, and let's see, this is our 90 degrees, so 25 is the one all by itself. 2x squared is going to equal 25 squared. Okay, so when we do this, 7 squared is 49. 2x squared, this squared goes to both. So 2 squared becomes 4, so this is plus 4, and then x squared equals, and then 25x squared is 625. I should have known that. Okay, so then we're going to subtract 49 to both sides. So we got 4x squared equals 100, nope, 576. Then we're going to divide both sides by 4. So we'll get x squared equals 144. Take a square root, and you'll get x is equal to 12 in this one. So the algebra is getting a little bit more tricky. So just remember when you have something like this where it's squared, it squares both things inside of there. So you're going to get x is 12. Okay, last one in this video, and I'm going to make a second video about what do you do with tangent lines and some more properties for it. So this one, let's see, what do we know? Okay, so we know this is another radius right here, so this has to be x. That means this whole side length is x plus 10. So let's set up a Pythagorean theorem for it. Let's say jk is tangent, so that's my 90. So we've got x squared plus 20 squared is equal to this x plus 10 squared. Now, whenever there's this plus sign, you have to actually write it out twice and do the foiling. So this becomes x squared plus 20 squared is 400. And then this becomes x plus 10 times x plus 10. And then you do have to do the distribution here. So x times x is x squared plus 10x plus 10x plus 100 equals x squared plus 400. Okay, so x squareds are going to cancel. I'll subtract 100 to this side. So we've got 300 equals, and then combine like terms 20x. So then if I divide both sides by 20, I will get x equals 15 for this problem. So again, a little bit more complicated algebra, but you're still using the Pythagorean theorem. All right, look out for video number 2 for just a little bit more on tangent stuff.